Hello there. If you're a parent or a caregiver, you already know that watching a little one grow is just one of the most incredible things. But let's be honest, it can also bring up a lot of questions. So today, we're going to dive into a topic that is on so many parents' minds, those all-important motor milestones. It's a question that probably pops into your head at the park or during a playdate. You see other babies hitting these big milestones, and you can't help but wonder, is my child on track? And you know what? That is a completely normal thing to think about. So let's unpack it together. All right, so to figure out if a child is late, we first have to get on the same page about what we're even looking for. Let's start right at the beginning. What in the world are motor milestones anyway? To put it simply, motor milestones are just the physical skills that babies learn as they get bigger and stronger. Think of them like a set of building blocks for movement. Each skill, like just lifting their head up or rolling over, is getting them ready for the next bigger skill. It's really the foundation for everything that comes later, from sitting at the dinner table to chasing a ball in the yard. So this timeline gives us a kind of general map for that journey. Typically we might see a baby sitting on their own around 8 months, then crawling at about 10 or 11 months, pulling up to stand by that first birthday, and then walking independently somewhere between 15 and 18 months. But, and this is so important, this is just a guide. It is not a strict deadline. Every single child follows their own unique path. Okay, so what happens if a child seems to be taking a little bit longer to get to those milestones? Well, that brings us to our next section, because it's not just about noticing that something's different, it's really about trying to understand the why behind it. You might notice some little things. Maybe your child finds it tricky to get from lying down to sitting up, or they seem a little wobbly on their feet even when they're holding on, or maybe you've noticed they almost always use one side of their body over the other, or they just don't seem that interested in moving around and exploring. Now, these aren't criticisms, they're just observations. They're like little puzzle pieces that can help us figure out what kind of support might be helpful. And there are often some pretty clear reasons for these kinds of delays. It could be something called hypotonia, which is really just a fancy way of saying low muscle tone, and that can make it a bit harder to build up strength. Or maybe they were born a little early and just need some extra time to catch up. Sometimes it's as simple as needing more opportunities for tummy time, which is kind of like a baby's first workout. It builds all that strength in their neck and back that they need for pretty much everything else. Getting to the root cause is really the key. So what can you do? This is where a really powerful tool can come in, physiotherapy. And I want to be super clear here. We are not talking about some kind of intense, high-pressure boot camp. This is all about gentle, positive, and most importantly, play-based support. The whole process is actually really straightforward and totally kid-friendly. It starts with a play-based assessment, where a therapist just watches how your child naturally moves and plays. From there, they'll create a plan that's personalized just for them, full of fun, guided activities. And the best part? It gives you, the parents, the tools and confidence to help continue that progress right at home. Honestly, a session usually just looks like playtime with a purpose. It might be fun games to encourage rolling over, or doing little exercises on a big ball to build up their core strength. A huge piece of the puzzle is parent coaching, because the real goal is for you to feel totally confident in supporting your child's movement every single day. And that's just so crucial. Kids make the biggest strides when all those little strategies from therapy are just woven into their everyday life. Simple play ideas, how you set up their play area, it all works together to build on what they're learning, and that helps their confidence and their skills grow even faster. This brings us to our last section, and it might just be the most important one. We need to talk about a piece of advice that parents get all the time, and why getting in early with support can make such a huge difference. I bet you've heard this one before. Oh, don't worry, they'll get there eventually. Or just wait and see. And look, while it's true that some kids absolutely do catch up all on their own, the tricky part is knowing when waiting is the right call and when it might actually be getting in the way of progress. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? Early support isn't about pushing a child or trying to rush them to the next milestone. Not at all. It's about creating the right environment and providing the right opportunities so their body can figure out how to move more efficiently, all on its own. So this is really the choice we're talking about. On one path, we can wait and see. And yeah, the child might catch up, but they also might develop some workarounds, like always pulling up with the same arm, which can throw off their balance later on. On the other path, with early support, we can actively help them avoid those habits. We can help them build confidence and learn balanced, efficient ways to move right from the very beginning. And that is the absolute bottom line here. This is not about labeling a child or putting pressure on anyone. It's about being proactive. It's about giving them the tools they need to build a strong, healthy foundation for a whole lifetime of confident movement. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Instead of just asking, is my child on time? What if we also asked, how can we create more opportunities for our kids to explore, to play, and to build confidence in their own unique movement journey? Because that's a goal every single child deserves to reach.